Thank you for joining us today for the Accounts Payable Network's Virtual Visitor Day. Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Bova Vice President at the AP Network, and it's my pleasure to be here with you today. Over the last decade, AP has changed so much, and I know for most of us, AP isn't the same today as it was even 5 years ago. So it's important to keep up. And that's what TAPN helps you, and more than 5,000 members do. Today's tour will show you how thousands of AP Network members, from large companies to small nonprofits, have found resources to help them boost their careers by saving time, reducing costs, and increasing productivity with quick, clear answers and solutions to complex problems for every AP function. I will begin the presentation by covering the benchmarking and 1099 sections of the site. But first, I would like to have you vote for one more area of TAPN you would most like me to cover. I will then demonstrate the top 3 additional picks from our attendee poll. The choices are AP Tools and Templates, Ask the Expert, AP Profiles, Escheatment, P-Card, Electronic Payment, AP Certification, ProTrain, Online Video Education, Sales and Use Tax, Member Forum. So cast your votes right now, and we'll see what the poll shows us. And I can see the votes coming in. Great. I'm excited. Look at the numbers there. Okay. All right, it looks like P-Card came in first place, and then we have a split vote. So I'll cover P-Card, AP Tools and Templates, and Sales and Use Tax. So I'll go ahead and mark those down. While our TAPN webpage is loading, I would like to quickly mention TAPN membership provides free e-video seminars just to everyone who has a log-on to the site on a variety of critical topics like benchmarking, imaging and workflow, T&E management, and AP best practices. You can use TAPN's e-learning videos to get top-notch training for your staff members from the convenience of your office or conference room. They're also great for lunch and learns. Plus, you won't have the added trouble of expense and travel. Okay, now that TAPN is loaded, we're just a mouse click away, so let's get started. On the left margin of the site, we see most of the site content that we'll use today. There is some content on the right margin, but we're going to work from this side. The AP Research box. This contains best practices and case studies on all of the topics that you see here. HR and staffing, payment, P-cards, policies, shared services, technology. There's much to use and learn from in the research box. The AP Compliance Suite houses tables, tools, tax answers, and on-demand updates for 1099, U.S. sales tax, escheatment, Canadian tax, VAT tax, and of course important updates on OFAC, SDN, and Sarbanes-Oxley. Below that is our AP Tool Suite. This houses over 300 downloadable policies, tools, flowcharts, RFPs, and other templates. There are 9 calculators and a very handy AP supply source where you can find different suppliers for any type of solution you might be looking for. There's a great glossary for your new hires and those new to AP. The AP Certification Program. If you haven't heard of it, we have more than 15,000 certified all over the world, and they hold their APM or APS certification designations. As well, a great team-building exercise is to earn your departmental certification, and you can certainly talk with us more about that if you would like. The AP Community Box houses an event calendar with AP events all over the U.S., a very active member forum where you can actually talk to other members online, help them with their issues, or post a question of your own. There's a global Payable newswire, which is updated every day, sorted by topic, which is very handy. We also have an AP store where you can buy CDs on a variety of topics and compliance issues, and a suggestion box, which is how we've quadrupled our site content since we launched in 2003. Members have sent us ideas for content or tools they want built or calculators they might like to see. Please be proactive and let us know if you decide to join. And the Ask the Expert feature, which is free to anyone who has a log on to TAPN. It's an extremely popular feature, and I'll touch on that a little bit later in my demo. So, I'm going to head back to the left margin, and as I promised, I'm going to cover benchmarking. It is by far one of the most sought-after areas of TAPN. Once a quarter, TAPN collects, aggregates, and posts data from the AP benchmark surveys that we conduct. As you will notice by the titles, each survey is devoted to a specific area of AP. TAPN metrics are granular and provide meaningful data for you to assess your department vis-a-vis others. TAPN also provides tools and guidance on how to undergo benchmarking for your own department. First, I'd like to demonstrate what you'll see in a TAPN benchmarking survey. Each survey comes with a point-and-click menu. We first go over the demographics of who participated. Our sample sizes are between 300 and 700 organizations per survey, so they're very reliable. After the industry breakdown and demographics, we provide summary study observations, which I'll touch on in just a moment. Then the actual survey results, invoice processing volumes, cost per invoice, implemented tools and technologies, and so forth. So for instance, let's look at the ever-popular cost per invoice. Certainly popular with most when I talk to them on the phone. First, we have it by company size, and then we have it by industry. So we can look at our leaders in the first quartile being $1.77, and the median cost, as well as the laggards. So certainly we don't want a cost of $16 or $20, or I've even heard as high as $25 per invoice. But if we're somewhere in the middle, we can use these cost figures to help win approval for technology and move to e-invoicing, so we can get our costs per invoice very low, like those who are best in class. And again, it varies so much by industry, and that's based upon the lines on an invoice and what industry you're working in, and how those invoices come in. Do they have PO? Is it non-PO? Et cetera. And that is going to give you a true cost variance by industry. So when you go into a TAPN survey, there is a lot for you to see. So when you're recounting what the survey taught you or found, the summary of the survey is very helpful. These are talking points that you could take to the CFO, to the controller, put in a memo for another department that you're working with, and they summarize all of the individual metrics, which you can copy and paste. And talking points are always great when you go to a meeting. It's not always convenient to show a table or OA graph and then have to tie all of that information to what it actually means when the results are taken together. So every survey comes with those talking points as well. The next area I would like to cover is in the AP Compliance Suite. And by far, 1099 is certainly asked about often, and especially at the beginning of the calendar year. There are an incredible wealth of point-and-click tax answers, updates, time-saving tables, and more. So I'd like to show you the first flyout under 1099 called Basics. Basics really doesn't mean easy. In this case, it means these are the most often or asked about problems that our members tell us or ask us about. They often need guide to foreign payments, backup withholding help, foreign tax treaties, W-8, W-9 help, B-Notice, foreign payments, payments to non-U.S. persons, correcting 1099s. I know these things come up all the time with you and your staff. So I'd like to point out one of the most popular tools in this one section. It's called 1099 Misfiling Basics. Now, perhaps you take care of the 1099 or you have a staff member, and you want to make sure that they have a great resource where they can quickly find the right answer. And sending them out to the IRS website isn't always the best way to go. Very time-consuming, and the legalese is hard for most to understand. So what we do here is put a point-and-click menu, and if you or your staff member needs the answer to non-employee comp or backup withholding or payment to attorneys, you just click on it. And we write the answer for you in layman's terms, which boxes you need to check off. And then if there's a particular link to a form or a regulation or a place on the IRS website we'd like you to see, we link you there. So it saves you time, and we can support what we're saying to you with that regulation or appropriate tax form. Now, I'm guessing or betting that everybody on the phone here has to deal with state 1099 compliance, which is no picnic. And certainly if you have all 50 states, I'm going to go ahead and offer my condolences now. That said, I'd like to show you one of the most popular tools in this section. It's called State 1099 Filing Requirements. And we'll unlock it. And first and foremost, as I mentioned, we link you to forms or regulations that you would need. So you can quickly click on Publication 1220. As well, you can then scroll down and see all 50 states. It will first tell you yes or no if they require a 1099, forms required, filing deadlines, additional information that state requires, and contact information, so you could call or email them. As well, there may be a question or an answer you can't find on the AP network. Certainly we have a lot of content, but we provide another service called Ask the Expert, which is free for those questions that you need help with that we don't have answers to on the site. Everybody who has a logon or a membership can fill in their username and their email address, type their question, and send it. In 2 to 4 business days, we're going to answer that question and give you back the answer. If it's multiple state and multiple questions, it could probably take us the full 4 days. If it would take longer, we would email you and let you know, hey, it's going to take us 5 or 6 days. But the majority of the questions are back to you in 2 to 4 days. It's extremely popular, as you might well surmise, for any compliance area, 1099, sales and use, etc. So since someone mentioned sales and use in our vote here today, I'm going to use Ask the Expert for sales and use tax right now. And we're going to click on sales and use. These are real live questions from TAPN members. And I'll exemplify with bottled water in Indiana. So this member wrote in, hey, can you tell me if there's sales tax on bottled water in the state of Indiana? If it's delivered, there's the twist, right? So they might have gone to the table, they might have seen the answer, but they still weren't sure. So they sent the question just to be double sure, and we confirmed it's not taxable in any way, shape, or form, delivered or otherwise, and we link the member to the reg. So we don't ask you just to take our word for it. You've always got the reg that you can take to the CFO or the controller or the director of tax. Okay, so P-card came in number 1, and I'm not surprised about that. It's a very, very popular topic, and it's a very, very beneficial tool. In the P-card section of the AP Research site, if you were to read every single one of these pieces, you would be a novice expert on P-card by the time you're done. It's that good. So some of you on the call today may not be using a P-card at all. Some may have just implemented and you need a policy manual. Some may just be using it for small dollar purchases but wanting to use it for large dollar purchases. Some may be now moving into buyer-initiated payment. The membership is in all different stages, and this section covers all of those. So as you scroll down, there's discussion about virtual P-card and payments and aligning with your goals, etc. The one that I would like to show you is called P-cards turn AP into a profit center. Now, some of you might be chuckling, thinking, ha-ha, AP could never be a profit center. But it really can be with the proper tools and best practices implemented. And that's what this piece is about. Once you can move to nearly 100% electronic invoicing and mostly electronic payment via ACH or P-card, you're well on your way to turning AP into a profit center through rebates and discounts that you can leverage on a P-card. So this piece takes you through all the moving parts of maximizing that tool. Now, once you read all the pieces in the P-card section, you might say, well, I need a P-card flow chart, or I need a P-card policy manual. Well, we have those, and those are in the Tools suite. I'm going to click AP Tools, and this main menu houses over 300 different tools you can download: policies, flow charts, RFPs, and other templates and forms. Great time savers. So I mentioned P-card policy manual and P-card flow chart. So I'll exemplify the P-card flow chart for you. There are 15 different flow charts here that you can download and customize. Whenever you open a tool, you're going to click View File. All the tools are built in Word or Excel. And the tool should open, and here's our flow chart. Once you are a member, you get to save this, and it will download. You can drop and drag shapes and arrows if you wanted to tweak the process. But this is a standard flow that you can implement and emulate, and it's also SOX compliant. Okay, I'm going to close the P-card flow chart, and I'm going to also show you the AP and P-card policy manuals. Because someone had mentioned tools, I'm going to combine these here. And I'm going to first go to the AP policy manual templates. These policies are GAAP and SOX 302 compliant. They're in alphabetical order, as you can see, and they're in Word. So I'm going to show you page 2 as well. You can see the policies continue down. We have a purchase card policy, we have a purchase order policy, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and click on purchase order policy. And we'll scroll down, and we're going to view the file. We're going to click OK. And here's our Word document. You would delete the instructions, and then the policy is here for you to customize. They are GAAP and SOX compliant. As you'll notice in 3.3, the GAAP language is written into this particular policy. You'll also see paragraphs sometimes that reference Sarbanes. And at the bottom of each policy, we link forms. These are also in the toolbox. There are 93 different forms that you can download. And of course, this policy suggests the non-purchase order voucher form. As we move one more time to the tool suite, I did want to review that menu with you so you have a good sense of really what's here. These are the 93 different forms. They include ACH forms, achievement forms, vendor due diligence forms, internal control checklists. The policy manual for AP we saw, 36 different 1099, W-8, and W-9 forms, all aggregated for you here in one spot. RFPs, there are 6 of them, HR templates, the P-card policy manual that I mentioned, the flow charts. There's a disaster recovery policy manual, extremely popular. Shared services forms and checklists for those moving in to a shared service environment. The AP internal control manual. This is GAAP and SOX 404 compliant. Travel and entertainment policy manual, and freight accounting forms and templates. I did want to show one more tool before I head to sales and use tax, which is the internal control checklist. And it is, again, one of the most popular, so that's why I wanted to show it to you today, because everybody needs internal controls, whether you're big or small, whether you have 2 people in your department or 66. So I'm going to go ahead and open, and it will load for us. Each form comes with instructions, and then we're going to click to the form itself once I enable the content here. There we go. Okay, this checklist is 264 lines, and it will make you SOX compliant if you're publicly held. Even if you're not, these are great controls to have. You want to, at the end of this checklist, have yes and non-applicable checked off. If you have no's, it means you need to go back and implement the directive on the left margin. So by the time we're done, we want all yeses and non-applicables. Starts with incoming mail. Then we have new vendor setup and maintenance, invoice processing, many directives under that category and controls, disbursement processing, vendor debit balance, system security, separation of duties, 1099, sales and use, reconciliations, accrued expenses, employees, and grants and encumbrances. So when you're all done, whether you assign it to someone else in your department or you work through it, you will have great controls in place, and you would do well in any audit. So to cover sales and use tax as our last category from the poll, there are many tools here, but the rates and calculator tool is really handy. All you would have to do is plug in your zip code, and I'm going to do that by using my zip code, and we're in the state of Georgia, so I'm going to go ahead and select that, and then I have to go back and fix my city, and then we'll use the amount of $1,000 just to keep it easy, and you can select sales or use, whichever you prefer. I'm going to select sales. I'm going to click results here, and we're going to scroll down, and you can see that for any reporting jurisdiction, it's going to give you the state, county, or even the city tax. It'll split it out and show you the apportionment, and then the total tax being 7%. So that was quick and easy and certainly handy. If we go back to sales and use tax, the information and resources section is filled with very granular and important pieces that managers and directors would want to review. The most popular certainly is what's taxable state by state. And as you scroll down, you can see that there is a table, and you can click on the state, and it will take you over to the nexus rules for that state and what's exempt. So point, click, grab the answer, and go. And then, of course, if you have a difficult question for sales and use, we can use Ask the Expert, as we saw a moment ago when I talked about bottled water in Indiana. So with that, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today for the Accounts Payable Network's virtual tour. Of course, you can see that there's just so much on TAPN. I was only able to cover a small amount of what's on the site during our demo. Thus, if any of you have additional questions or would like a personal demo, please call me at 678-894-4597. Again, 678-894-4597, and I will put you in touch with an account manager. Or if you would like to join TAPN online now, please go to www.tapn.com/join. Of course, every membership includes TAPN's 100% membership guarantee. I hope you found our time together helpful and that you do consider the AP Network a valuable resource. We appreciate your time and look forward to having you join us. Thank you.